I decided to make a wall clock for my shop using shell cases. I got the pre-cut piece of wood and the clock mechanism from the craft store. I used 357 Magnum and 500 Magnum shell cases. I'm sure other cases would work just as well. I cut out a paper target and laid out the cases and clock hands. I used the 500 Magnum for 12, 3, 6, and 9 o'clock, and the smaller 357 Magnums for the other hours. I used a protractor and a compass to evenly space the hours. I carefully transferred my marks onto the wood. I used my drill press to make the holes for the clock mechanism and the shell cases. The spade bit looks like it's barely turning. I had to open up the holes for the 500 Magnum with sandpaper. I used my Dremel to trim the cases to length and also to chamfer the edges after they were cut. I polished the cases with some extra fine steel wool, and then I coated them with some paste wax. I sanded the face of the clock and also the sides. Here's a mock-up without the paper target in place. Looks good so far. I used Mod Podge to seal the wood and apply the target. I got this stuff at the same craft store that I bought the other supplies. I applied the Mod Podge to the edges and also to both faces of the wood. After the first coat of Mod Podge was dry, I applied a second coat to glue down the paper target. I was very careful to align the lines in the target with the holes in the wood. I used an X-Acto knife to cut the holes in the target paper. I applied another coat of the Mod Podge to protect the paper. I wanted the clock hands to be red, so I scuffed them with steel wool and painted them with acrylic paint from the craft store. And I painted the edge of the wood with black acrylic. I used craft glue to glue in the brass shells. I made sure the case markings were aligned as I pushed the cases in. The clock mechanism came with various washers and nuts that had to be installed in the correct order. First I installed the mechanism. Then I attached the hour and minute hands. And finally, the second hand. So here's the finished product. I think it turned out really well. Thanks for watching.